Phil talks about compassion fatigue, about actually getting tired of giving, like especially in development work. There's times when like I think I have to protect myself, and so how do you guys in your own way not get compassion fatigue, or like to like you need to stop working and you need to do things
Just
for
call our
yourself.
Canadian friends and they heal us. Easy.
Yeah, they're very happy people, joyful people. Yes.
No, it's real, right?
Yeah.
But you see, like in it's a thing in Norway. In when uh, well, in Norway it's majority government who deals with this kind of stuff, no? And there's well, I teach sometimes in universities in Norway for social work and stuff like that, and one of the things where we don't agree is that you need to hold back as a caregiver, and the reason for that is to protect the caregiver. One thing that we can do a lot better, which we're actually good at here in the Philippines, is to taking care of each other, taking care of the ones that take care of people. Here it happens organically. People talk, they have each other's back. There's much more room for sharing and talking and opening up, as you know, it would be in my home country. Um, like for me, it's been writing journals, talking to my wife, talking to friends, and just having an outlet for it. And I think, at least for Norway, have a lot to learn on how we, as caregivers, um, help each other out.
I think we have a saying at our practice, Key Creative, when we're working with children of all abilities and trauma, is we need to, in order to love others, we need to also love ourselves. And so all of those things you saw, Jen, martial arts, hip hop, dancing, I do that for me. So a lot of people think, oh, you're teaching hip hop. Yeah, that's the byproduct. I guess that's the bonus. I'm actually doing it for me, for a selfish reason, because I also have trauma. And I grew up with a father with high temper. He had a brain tumor and he was very reactive. And so I was always on eggshells, not knowing how to behave around my dad, because he could have a tantrum in church. If he heard a baby crying, he'd say, "Shh," and it'd be so embarrassing in Canada. It'd be like, "Dad, sit down, that's just a baby." But growing up with all those, those things, I learned that I became very traumatized to my household living. So I do all of those things to help me, so I can help others. It's a little baliktad, a little backwards, but that's how I've earned a living, I think.
I'd like to share just like a short story. Like we were in Tacloban 2 weeks ago, and one of the new kids actually challenged him to beatbox. Like I heard you're a beatboxer.
He killed me. It's got service on the internet.
Yes, it did.
Paula,
I mean, I have a lot of faith. I guess I live in faith and on believing that I'm on purpose. And so I've chosen that worry doesn't serve me and that my purpose better serves me and others, and that's what I commit to. It's not easy all the time. In a way, it's a practice of loving myself and reminding myself that I'm amazing, surprising, beautiful, and powerful, and I live in gratitude, and that's the center of what guides my life. I wake up and I practice gratitude. Throughout the day, I practice gratitude with my kids. I practice gratitude with my nephew, with my team. And so that really centers me in remembering all the things I do have and all the things that give me the energy and ability to then give to others. So I am also very selfish, and I do take time for myself, and I do make it a practice, and I do things I love because I want to give back to others. And the other thing I was going to say, and I mean, I feel like you guys can relate in a way. I don't think of it as work. really is like key creative is, and this is just life. Like this is our chosen life, and I think when I kind of separate this is work and this is play, like this is just my life, and there's different aspects that make up my life, but it makes it feel, I guess, less like I need to create different walls or barriers, or and just be human. I'm just living a life with others and interacting and connecting in different ways.
So I'd agree with what everyone's shared. Believe it or not, it is possible to lose your humanity in the course of doing humanitarian work. I'll tell you a story. I think for humanitarian work, you focus a lot on the numbers. You want to feed the maximum amount of people. You want to house the maximum amount of people, save the maximum amount of people. And human dignity is about remembering that people are not numbers. Remember one morning we were about to, this is in Tacloban, we were about to head out on a big distribution. The team was getting ready, and a woman showed up at the front door of the office just as we were about to head out. And she said, I didn't know where else to go. I saw a sign over the door that said Samaritan, so I thought maybe you could be people who could help me. I found these two kids, I hope I don't get emotional. I found these two kids behind the old city hall, and they lost their entire families, and they've been surviving here for weeks with nobody. There's nowhere for them to go. There's no one to take them in. And as a team, we had to just stop and say, okay, we've got a lot of people to help today, but we're going to deal with this moment right now. So we made sure we got the kids something to eat. We had to go and set the kids up with a local shelter, and now it makes me wonder watching this if it was yours or because it's 10 years, I can't quite remember. But by the time we started dealing with this, I would say more than half of the staff in the room were in tears. And I think it's because they saw in those kids their family members, their friends, their loved ones, maybe even themselves. And I think that sometimes, asking that question of, if this was my mother, if this was my father, if this was my child, how would I want them to be treated? How would I want someone to care for them? And if you can do that occasionally, I think you can find the motivation to keep going when you're through. But that doesn't negate any of the care practices that are incredibly important. So that's my perspective. Thanks.
Thank you. So this is my